Coffee Club, Coffee Club. Grind your beans and grab your favorite mug. It's Ollie, Morgan, George, and Gus. It's them boys from Coffee Club. Boys from Coffee Club.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Coffee Club podcast for episode 176. We are very lucky today to be joined by the one and only Rambo, Maia Ramsden, who's been long awaited, you could say, at least in our circles, maybe for the listeners as well, but it's been teased. We've asked her to come on a few times and she's denied us.
One time.
Had better things to do, apparently.
Very hard to tie down. But luckily we found an empty Thursday afternoon, and here she is. Maia, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you guys for finally having me on.
Full Oceania lineups. I mean, still, I guess it normally is, but
I'll just stand in for Ollie.
yeah, a good stand-in.
Well, now I'm outnumbered.
Yeah.
Which is
Very
This
true.
might be
not good.
What other New Zealanders have we had on now that I was about to say?
Not many. Not many at all.
Not many. Shit.
I don't think Sam Tanner's been.
Quaxy was on here,
Yeah.
but with Luis, so they didn't
Does
outnumber
it
us.
count?
I think that's it. Oh, I feel really bad if I'm leaving out some Kiwi, but I don't think any others have been on here.
We'll get Sam on one day. But anyway, welcome to the pod, Maia.
Welcome to the pod. And as she mentioned, Ollie is not here. He is currently down under in Australia. We will potentially try call him later. I'm not sure if he'll pick up.
He might be out surfing.
Yeah, he's
or
just surfing.
something. So we'll see if we can bring him in for a minute. But
yeah, but alas, we do have Maia, and we do have a very fun episode. Maia's a very interesting person. She's got a very cool upbringing, a very cool story to get her to where she is now, and we will get into all that. Before that, though, we're going to recap a few results, mostly the BU meet, because that was the really hyped meet this past weekend. We had a full force OAC. It was kind of the OAC meet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that, if you can take over it, but I think we had a strong presence there, and especially, we had people going for the mile world records, which was probably the biggest storyline around it. So I guess we can claim it. But yeah, how were the vibes out there going back to Boston?
They were a lot better than the first time we went there.
the vibes were, or the race was?
Bit of both.
Really?
Vibes definitely
I guess
were.
they kind of go into each other sometimes.
I always think this last meet, though, that the vibes are odd because there's like nobody there, because it's not a college meet anymore, because like conference weekend.
Yeah, but you're
I did
forgetting that last time they had an extended stay in Boston, which
It's true.
they all... The vibes were probably
Went
good.
down.
The vibes were probably good for the meet. Like
I forgot about that.
And then they went down as the
Every
weather
day
stayed
they
bad.
went down.
Oh yeah, wait, and you didn't even run at BU. It was
No,
New Balance.
exactly. I would have loved to run at
True.
BU.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. BU's always good vibes, in my opinion. I'm biased, but I love it there. I literally walked in for pre-race and I was like, this is amazing.
This is my spot.
Yeah.
Do you like racing there more than anywhere else in Boston?
Indoors, yeah.
Indoors?
Oh, yeah.
You don't like racing at Harvard?
No.
Okay.
BU is perfect for spectators. Like, you get to be on the track, on the infield. It's a good feeling. As long as people don't sort of get their shoulder into lane one.
As long as there's not too many camera crews out there.
Did you guys
What? Wait, where
Did you see
I
that?
did see that video. Where was that?
That
Was
was
that some conference meet?
no. That was
That was
Was that
that was
BU?
us,
BU's
George.
us.
That was us. That was our camera crew.
Oh, okay, wait. No, then I'm talking about something else.
The Virginia
Virginia guy.
Tech
Wait,
guy that
I didn't see
actually.
this.
He actually crashed into, I'm pretty sure, a guy with a much smaller, our camera. It was ridiculous. I forgot about that. But a guy just walked straight into lane one during the 1500 heats, and a guy just smashed
Two people
into
hit real hard, like flying off the track. They got back up, and I guess if it was the
it.
heats,
They must have been put
they
through.
were okay. But it was so weird because he was in lane 2. He was kind of like lane 2, lane 3, filming
photographer?
something, the photographer. But then as the runners came through, I think they like startled him, or people must have been yelling at him, and he jumped into lane 1 in front of them.
Instead of going out.
Like if he had jumped the other way, I think he would have avoided
been
contact. It was bad. It was real bad.
Yeah, our boom mic
It
at,
was,
at BU.
Justin
There's been a lot of
Britton,
camera
Justin
time.
Britton calling us
saw
out. That was
They were everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get the content.
Getting good content, though.
Yeah, got to make a good video documentary out of it.
The audio is going to be crisp.
Pristine, absolutely pristine.
But
But
that thing.
was it? So the meet was delayed a lot, or at least, the whole meet was delayed.
Yeah,
And
it
it
just got more and more delayed as the day went on.
Was that chaotic, or did you guys know? Were you guys calm, cool, collected?
For us, it was okay because I guess we found out, the milers found out like before we got in the bus or before we got in the Uber. So we
Mhm.
waited at the hotel. So that was fine. And then it didn't get delayed anymore. But
It was like a whole hour, almost.
it was like a half hour for
Half
us.
hour?
And
Okay.
then between the miles and the 5K, it got more and more delayed. So the 5K people were in trouble.
Yeah. I
It was a
was
little brutal.
I was trying to watch on the old Discord. I was getting real stressed out when there was just heat 9 out of 13 of the 200, and they have like 2 or 3 people in each heat, and it's just like I really want to watch the miles right now. I had a friend who's actually been on the podcast before. Remember Cullen? He was there watching. They got delayed so much he had to leave.
No.
he had to leave, and then I think he came back later, and he missed it all. So it was sad. But
What was going on in there?
I think they're just optimistic about how long
many-
it takes to set up vlogs.
How many heats they can fit into
Yeah.
however many minutes?
is it true that this meet was run by different? I don't know.
It is true.
It's run by different than the normal
Mhm.
BU, so maybe that was a factor.
Yeah,
It's
but
like not
the
run by
normal
BU.
BU are also delayed.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah. But I mean, at least when I went there, it was like very efficient.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you're in
I
heat
would
one,
say.
you're fine.
When there's like 20 something sections of the mile,
Very
they
efficient.
basically start the next one, and there's people still like literally on the
Coming on the
track.
home straight.
Whereas
Yeah.
this one seemed just a bit disorganized. For example, when I watched the men line up, and I think the same thing may have happened to you guys. When I saw Yared in lane 1, and I was like, why would they put Yared in lane 1 if he's going behind the pacemaker? Like, that's just kind of dangerous. And then it took them a few minutes, and then they ended up putting him on the outside. But it was just a lot of like stuff. Like he had to redo all his numbers and stuff like on the line. So it was a bit of
They're definitely like rearranging people on the line, and maybe the lights. Like they never have lights there. So
Wavelights.
yeah.
the wave lights.
Yeah. Wavelights at BU. Is that the first time?
First in my memory.
So I'm grateful for them, but I am a little bit like
Extra layer of
BU's supposed to be.
what's BU supposed to be?
I don't know.
Wave lights suit
Low-tech.
BU a lot.
Low tech.
You think so?
It always has been.
I guess. Times are changing.
I guess so.
So we're going to go through the races kind of maybe backwards. And as in we'll end with the mile recap. And we'll start off with Sage had a solo 1K out there. There's not much to say about Sage's race because she was solo grinding.
Grinding.
And she pushed it hard through 8. And then she had that last 200 was tough. But she won 236. Finished off the indoor season. So I think she's just happy to be done with it and move on to outdoors. But yeah, no competition. So it's like running a 1K is not very fun.
202 solo
Yeah. And she
by
went
herself.
very fast. So that was impressive.
Yeah.
Looping all the way around to the 5Ks. So we had good presence in both 5Ks and a lot of hope. The women's 5K was paced by Maia and Cinta, who got it off to a beautiful start. Did you enjoy pacing?
No.
No, not at all.
I was like, I didn't think it was going to be that hard, but I didn't have to go the whole way. It was terrible. I'm like, I cannot run a 5K for a while. It was so hard.
Yeah.
I have
Normally,
so
if
much
you do
respect.
one, you wouldn't have just run a mile.
I'm like, I had 90 minutes.
I mean, a week would be better.
Yeah, just a lot of respect for those people in that race. I'm like,
Did you have wave lights to pace though?
We did have wave
That's
lights.
actually when that's the best
That's
as a
it.
pacer.
Yeah.
And they were bang on. Like the pacing was
It makes it so relaxing. Not even, I mean, still hard, but like you just don't have to stress about.
No,
pacing.
I enjoyed the lights as a pacer a lot, actually.
It's almost more important for the pacer, arguably.
definitely, I would say.
Definitely, yeah.
I think so. I think that's because that's where you'll probably have the biggest impact on the races, running
Mhm.
like as even consistent splits as possible and
Yeah.
at the right pace early on. I would say so. So
It's
yeah,
also like you do kind of have to look down. And so if you're racing, it's much easier to stare at someone's back than it is
yeah.
to
Were you actively looking to the left of you and seeing? It's kind of confusing because it's a long line of lights. It's like
Yeah.
are you actively trying to stay at the front of the lights?
No, but as long as you can, I was told before, as long as you see them in your peripheral vision, you're good. Like as long as you can kind of see this glimmer, you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that made it easy.
Yeah, and then you also probably had coaches like yelling splits at you as well.
did have coaches. They weren't yelling splits. It was more just like, you're good.
Oh,
Or like,
I prefer that, honestly.
Yeah.
That's
I
nice.
don't want to hear too many times hearing 71. I'm going to be like, uh-oh.
Yeah. But long story short, Josette
Crushed.
had an amazing race, 14:44 PB. Emily McKay, actually amazing as well.
Crushed. Mm-hmm.
Big last lap, was just a few seconds behind Josette. Olivia, 15:14. I think we all think that she has a lot more in the tank,
Mm-hmm.
but probably was a bit tired off last week's race, and maybe, I don't know, maybe the pace was too quick for her. I don't know. But she's definitely got some big 5Ks ahead of her in the future.
Oh, yeah.
And then on to the men's, we had our boys Kai and Dylan, who, that's the 5K boys. They've been grinding. You've been hearing us talk about how amazing their form has been, and they showed that at Milrose with a couple of 7:30s. But unfortunately, they did not. Their goal was to run the world standard of 13:01, and they were unfortunately just a little bit off it. They came third and fourth in the race at 13:02 and 13:07. Dylan, I think, was maybe a bit tired in Kai. I don't know. Actually, I haven't specifically asked Kai how he felt in the race. I haven't asked him that question now that I think about it. But 5Ks are hard, you know.
Yeah.
They're really hard, and the pacing was bang on 12:55 pace. Go through 3K in 7:45. Shout out to the paces we had. Our two boys, Ollie and Yared pacing, but then Anthony Caminieri.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. MVP.
He should have just stayed in. Like, he went through about 3,800 or something running 7:45 through 3K, and just amazing job. And yeah, Kai, I think did Kai drop off him already before and Nico went around him?
No.
I think
Kai led a
was-
few laps.
And
Yeah.
then Nico
And then
put the afterburners on.
I think it was like either predetermined or Nico made a decision like halfway through that 5 laps to go. And he just blew it open. It was
Yeah,
just
took
like
off.
at 5.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Because
And
once
then
Kai led, it was
just
a
Adrian
couple
went with
of
him.
slower laps. Like, not that much slower, but the thing is, when you're running, the thing with the 5K is it seems like it's like a distance event. It seems long, but there's not much room for error at all. If you're trying to run sub 13, you're going through in 62s or whatever that is. So if you run like 64s, which is still really quick, you're just losing time.
Yeah.
65 is in their case.
Yeah.
And it was a recipe for either that to happen or to run 12:50 in my mind.
Mhm.
And I feel like it obviously worked out so well for Nico,
Yeah.
who was in incredible shape to run number 2. Or that would have been the American record until
A couple weeks
Grant
ago.
just broke the world record.
Yeah.
So if you're running 12:55 pace, like in a 5K, you want to close. You don't want to. You don't want to either run even or die. That's just a terrible way to
But
feel.
we've already talked about this. Kai likes to run even.
Yeah, but I would agree with that if he got the standard.
Yeah.
I think he needs to change his attitude
He needs
towards
to rethink
running
his race
even,
plan.
because I mean, it looked a little bit like Milrose, but going out in 12:55 shape, and then it's like, yeah, all I need to do is run 63s from here to the end. But instead you run 65s, and then you miss the standard, which is
Yeah.
going all the way to Boston to get the standard, and it's frustrating because in Boston you don't get much else for running 13:02, apart from.
Hey, he gets good points for that.
Do you?
Yeah. It's worth probably a 12:50 outdoors.
Just because it's outdoors?
It's probably not more than it's probably not more than Milrose 3K
No,
though.
definitely
Yeah,
not.
and you
Milrose
can't
has so
replace
many
that.
Yeah,
points.
it's probably not. So yeah, it's not really worth anything.
Apart from 13:02, it's still
Well, that's
still a great run,
Yeah.
obviously.
It's kind
Tired.
of it's kind of not correct to say it's not worth anything, because it's
No,
still
no.
a very good signpost.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
this
it
point of
shows
the
he's
year.
in incredible fitness.
You're in good shape, and there's still many months and many training sessions, many weeks to just get better and better. And the thing is, Kai and Dylan have both adapted to the training here really well. They've been crushing it. But I honestly think that sometimes, especially maybe more in the 5K compared to the 1,500 mile, or actually any event, you get some people who straight away, they train, they crush it, and their races skyrocket. Some people, it takes a little bit more time, I think. So maybe that's what we'll see here. Like I'm so confident the jump, as long as they just keep training, doing what they're doing, the jump will come, and it'll be a big jump when it does come. But maybe it just hasn't quite come yet. I mean, the 7:30 indoors is amazing, and that's
legit.
So good.
super legit. Yeah, but
I mean, 13:02, that's still a big there's still a 4-second PR too.
Yeah,
So that's still
totally.
still good.
Would have been the Australian record if not
Until
for
last week.
till last week as well. So
And he went out significantly slower.
yeah. So
That's
tough,
my view on it.
tough. No,
Closing
it's
hard just
understandable.
Closing hard just feels better.
Definitely
also
feels better.
has good leg speed. Like
He
he's
does.
got a fast mile.
He's fast,
So yeah, I'm not worried.
He loves money in the bank strategy.
but
That makes so much sense for him though. Like
Yeah.
I would like that.
no, but that is also the way he trains. Though, like if you
Really?
train with him, he's really
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
Always, he's
Yeah.
consistently strong. He's because there's other people who, like for example, I'd say I'm more like this. I like to like progress through a session, and like I think George is probably more like I like to feel good, and then like work off that a bit more. Kai, if Kai has
Yeah.
it, if you're running if you're doing any session and it's hard, he'll go out hard, and if he's trying to run a 62, he'll want to go out in 29/30 through 200. That's how he likes to run.
He has a great
Kinda
attitude
like-
where he doesn't look past whatever that rep is. It's just like, I'm just going to do this one and then I'll worry about how I'll feel later.
Yeah, it's taken him pretty far. So.
Yeah. You get really fit doing that.
Yeah, and we didn't mention Adrian. I didn't think. Oh,
Yeah.
you did. Woodshot 12:55, big run for him. I don't know what he's been doing, but I saw in the post it was 6 months since his last race.
Really? Yeah, he's so consistent now. 12:56 last year, 12:55 now.
One
I
of the
think it's
best
like
runners in the
third.
world.
2 or 3 runs under 12, under 13.
Yeah,
Going to the 10 in a few weeks, I think.
legit, super legit.
That dude's good.
Yeah. So onto the men's mile, the world record attempt. Lots of hype. We had a couple of pacemakers out there. I'm not sure who the first one is, but then Mario was out there.
Did it
So-
feel hype?
It did feel hype. I mean,
crowd
there
was
were-
actually
there
there
were
for
a
that.
lot of like, because I feel like a lot of college kids had conference.
To the
There
high
were
schoolers.
heaps of high school kids, and
There were signs.
Apparently,
Yeah.
Yared was like taking selfies like on the start line or
all-
signing.
Yeah,
things.
and like sometimes if you were with him and someone came up for a photo, I would just sort of like, "Can you wait till after his race?" kind of face.
You were trying to
Yeah.
protect him.
I was, but it didn't work. You know, he's so kind. He's saying yes to everyone, like
It's tough.
getting our bib numbers and stuff.
So
kids
yeah,
just
BU is
coming.
so there's no separation.
But that's what
Yeah,
makes
there's
it
not
fun.
Yeah.
there's no core room.
No, it's like
You just-
everything's right there.
Just rock
just-
up to the line.
Yeah.
You can do whatever, but
He
That's
handles
sick,
it so
though.
well, though. And like he's so gracious with every kid that comes up to him.
he soaks it up. I think
Yeah.
he does. And yeah, just from the computer screen, the hype difference between the mile and the 5Ks. The 5Ks, I felt bad for them. There was watching Nico sprinting away the last K,
Mhm.
ripping laps, doing something incredible. You wouldn't have known. Like if you had closed your eyes, you're like, "Is there a race going on?" I can't tell. I literally cannot tell. Whereas for the miles, like, it was actually just getting announced. Everything was hype.
We were on time as well. Like the 5Ks, I also do think there probably would have been
You
more
guys
people.
were not on time.
Well, we were closer to on time.
Okay.
Like could have been stretched to 25 minutes.
People
you
are gonna
know?
wait. People are gonna wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
people must have just been sick of being there by then. They just went home by the
It was
time the
like 6:30.
5Ks.
Like,
Yeah, it was late.
I was ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here. But yeah, so pretty much
Mario looked good up there.
Mario
Yeah.
did good. He did really good. Took him out through 1K. And yeah, there was some contention with the wave lights. According to Mario, they were set for a 1600 rather than
That
a
would make so
1609.
much sense. Yeah.
That's the word on the street. So thus they were slightly slow because they were set for, let's say, 345 through 1600.
This could make sense because I think ours were set. Yeah, that actually could make a lot
That
of
makes
sense.
sense?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Because I think I was told ours were set for the outdoor standard, but then that they were also set for 418. So maybe
Mm.
they were set for something like 418 through 1600,
Okay.
and then 419 something for the. So that would make sense for the men too.
Yeah.
What
So,
was not contentious was that it didn't end up
didn't matter.
mattering. But that would have been if they were right. If he was right ahead of the lights and then they didn't break the world record
Yeah.
because it got wrong.
Which we've seen a couple of times before.
Yeah,
Really?
that's definitely happened before.
Elise Cranny with the
yeah,
10K.
Craney.
It happened one year where it looked like
Ah.
she beat them and then she didn't. She was just off the time.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah. So it has happened, but yeah, as George mentioned, they went out real hot, but then the wheels fell off just a little bit. Not that much.
It
Still.
was just the OAC show up there.
Yeah.
It was
It was vintage Ollie.
It was.
Going out behind, which he said, I love it. A man
Dude.
of his word. He said he was going to do that.
Yeah.
He went out there, he did it, and he was rewarded with, I think, a great race, 350.
PB.
PB,
Mhm.
indoor PB,
Mhm.
Yeah, small one.
which is sick. Just a little bit off the standard, which he did want, but still, I think a really big step forwards just to feel like himself again, more so than anything else. Yared was still able to close pretty well, like 27 last lap, but he just, I think in those couple laps after Mario had dropped out, that it slowed down maybe a little bit too much. And it was, you could tell it was going to be tough because the thing is, this is my takeaway, is like Milrose was just such a perfect event, vibe, venue, atmosphere to go and do something like that. And especially
Hobbs right on his shoulder.
Hobbs on his shoulder, clipping him. And especially also the way they ran it, where they did go out tiny bit slower, which seemed to be the way to do it. He was able to be so strong once the pacemakers did drop off. Whereas here, you could tell that once Mario was gone, Yared was working, and like maybe a bit more than you would want to be working at that point if you're going to be able to continue at that pace. And so yeah, I guess that's 1-0 to Jakob.
Just trying to recreate the Milrose magic is just a big ask.
Yeah.
I think.
Impossible.
And don't get me wrong, like it was hype, but it wasn't like New York. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't the same atmosphere as that.
If anyone's been to both, they know they know what that feels like. But
Especially when you're the 2-time defending champion coming back and you got everyone going crazy. You've just won a medal, and it's like,
yeah, your first race back.
it's like,
Third time's a charm.
yeah. So it was hard. You gave it a great effort.
Nothing wrong with going for it.
No.
Honestly, I changed my mind a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Well, originally I was just saying, I just thought to myself like, man, it's not Milrose. Like this is gonna be so hard. And then I was like, yeah, fuck it. Like, trying is cool. Like, let's go see what it can.
Trying is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
agree. It's a good story. Like,
Mhm.
and he still ran so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, it has like just numbed everyone to running 347.
Yeah.
Like, if that was a couple of years ago, that would have been like. Now we're all just so desensitized to how fast
Yeah.
just Yared is, but also everyone else.
Yeah. It's really, the
Like he
landscape's changed.
only ran 347.
Yeah, it's not even good. You got college kids running 348. not even impressive. No, it was amazing. It just showed how strong he is. I think I agree. I think trying is cool. I probably would have wanted to do something different just to give some more variety in my indoor season, because his indoor season is only 2 races and he already went for the mile. So if I was him, I don't know what I would have done actually, because the thing is, it doesn't like running. He wouldn't have run the 5K by
It
choice.
doesn't sound appealing.
So that's not appealing to him. The 3K would have been a very exciting race with him and Blanks, and that would have suited Yared a lot
Yeah.
to line up against good old
Yeah.
Blanksy, who had an amazing freaking race.
He did.
29. Shout out to him.
Go Graham.
So yeah, but you can't hate on Yared for going out and giving it his all. You can't hate on anyone for doing that ever. So
What's cool is he's going from 2 world record attempts to his next race will be Grand Slam, which hopefully will be the complete
getting
opposite
slammed.
to any of this
Pure
bullshit.
racing.
Yeah, any of this time trialing nonsense
Yeah.
at BU. I'm so glad BU's done for another year.
Really?
I'm
Oh,
just,
that's sad.
I'm just saying that. But something needs to change. Like in the last few BU meets, they're just so watered down because they're just so spread out.
But the thing is, then you get something amazing that happens and it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, but like each one of them had like one person or 2 people break 13 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's just combine that. Stop offering these other options. BU just makes too much money, I guess.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I
It
do
needs-
too.
They
needed-
still each individually had cool things though, if you think about it.
100%.
I think
But
there has to be room for both. Like I
If
do
there
think.
was, if that was just one meet, that would be so sick.
It would be. But then it wouldn't be BU, then it'd be Milrose. You know what I mean? Yeah.
True.
I am excited
So-
for the Grand Slam though
Yeah.
situation. Like I'm excited to just see people racing.
Just to finally a change up.
hmm
Yeah. Actually, sorry. The only reason they need so many BU meets is probably for the college kids, not for the pros.
Exactly.
They should ban it for the pros.
And they should. Like, all of them should be banned for the pros except
Yeah.
like one.
This is the pro one that's allowed.
Like, this is the only one you can enter as a pro.
Yeah. But yeah, it is starting to get excited for Grand Slam time with a lot of people now that like, it's like, my next race is Grand Slam. So we are starting to look forward.
It's so cool.
There was a Tom Wang forwarded me an article today. I don't know if you guys saw this, that apparently World Athletics is looking to get some Saudi money to take him on. Yeah, big money.
To take on
Take
Grand
him
Slam.
down.
To make a
Take
new
him down.
setup that's the same.
Saudi Slam.
But
I don't know if it'd be the same at all, but
World
it's
Athletics
just
run.
money, you know? It's just something to
The Saudis are putting money in every other sport in the world.
Yeah.
May
they're
as
not.
well put it in track and field.
I for one would welcome it. I think like why not? It was controversial in golf. Why was it so controversial in golf again?
So much more controversial in golf than
I
all the
think-
other sports.
Yeah, like people don't really hate on the other ones as much as golf. I think was it because I guess golf is a more traditional sport and they weren't allowed to do, they weren't allowed to do PGA stuff, right, or something.
Yeah, but it was people like just actually getting called out for accepting money
Like tens of
from
millions.
a state that
Oh,
doesn't have great human,
okay. Should we talk about sovereign wealth funds
Yeah.
and sports washing? Is that what it's called? Is it called sports washing?
I don't know.
What is that?
It's like greenwashing. It's like when companies, it's like when evil corporations do like donate money to good causes to make them look good, even if they're
Mm.
still acting evil. That's what people accuse these,
That's
what they accuse- like,
I get it.
you know?
Yeah.
But my thing on this is that that's the way it's been done forever.
Yeah.
You know?
Sports has always been.
But well, not even with sports specifically, but let's take like a lot of wealthy American. Sorry, this is maybe not where you thought the podcast was going to go today. A lot of like the thing is, a lot of people that get really, really, really rich don't do it. Almost all of them don't do it through like fully moral things, you know.
Mm.
But then let's take like the Rockefeller Center or whatever. Like I don't know exactly how the Rockefeller family got rich, but I assume it wasn't like charity. I assume that they were like made money off like people, and then they like donate to like the center, and then it's like that they do that so to make their name look better and their image look better. And that's obviously what a lot of these countries with their massive sovereign wealth funds from their oil money want to do. They want to change the perception from being like, oh, that's just like oil money, to oh, they're like
We're
investing
helping
this
sports
money
grow.
into good things, and then hopefully these sports can then become self-sufficient, but like good things on their own, I guess, is the end goal. But yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. You know?
Yeah. I
Mm.
think it's just that like Norway's sovereign wealth fund compared to Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. Well, like not this. Norway has the biggest, I think.
Yeah,
They
Norway-
should, I don't
Norway
know why,
has the
what are they?
biggest.
Jakob should get them to.
No, see this. Are you going to criticize them because theirs is from
No,
oil?
it is. I'm not. That's not. I wasn't saying that Saudi's not from oil. It's just it's their other shit they do in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
They're like,
So don't accept money from them.
yeah, not because it's from oil, because
'Cause
they're
their laws and stuff.
human. I don't know.
That's true.
Whatever the word is, they don't do some great stuff there.
That's
Mm.
true. That's very true.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. But then, what are you going to do if someone's offering hundreds of millions of dollars to save your sport or to make your sport better?
I have to give this more thought.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's gonna be.
keep me up
This is
at
gonna
night.
happen.
But think
Yeah.
about like
This moral dilemma is coming.
think about or
Hopefully.
like this could just go on forever, this talk. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about like pharmacy companies that like sponsor like big
Mm.
sports teams and stuff, and
100%.
it's like they probably do like a lot of really bad shit as well.
But they used to talk about this in Fiji because the secondary school's athletics is sponsored by Coke. And it was always like, oh, but Coca-Cola's, I don't know if it still is, but Coca-Cola is so bad for you. But also it's like that competition is quite literally changing people's lives. Like it's bringing them
Yeah, they're
into
trying to
the
do
sport.
something
And
good.
then what do you do with it?
Yeah, it's just a hard line to draw because then you have to reevaluate every aspect of your life and look at how, like, make a moral judgment on all these other things which you probably take for granted. And you're like, well, this is probably funded by some evil stuff. I don't know. It's a tough one. But
Mm.
with that said, I think,
They should definitely get into track and field.
yeah, they should.
In that
Even the playing
discussion.
field. Let's take some of that Cristiano Ronaldo money.
It's just, yeah, between him and Neymar, they could have funded our entire sport for the next like 2 decades.
The sums of money that they get, I think, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. Like, I think that I don't know how that much money exists for one person to just play some games of soccer. It's crazy. But this is all just a preamble this is all lead up to the women's mile at BU. To bring the excitement full circle. So, Maia,
Yes.
in your words,
Mm-hmm.
what was the goal for this weekend? What was the goal for this race? What's the context?
Context. First couple races of the season didn't necessarily go as planned. Really wanted to get a world indoor standard. Did not get that. And more than that, like, that's one thing, but the first 2 races were tactical, and personally I don't feel like I executed particularly well. But mainly it was like, I want another opportunity to race this season, hopefully at World Indoors. So we need the standard, which was 4:22.5.
Which is not slow.
Not slow. Last year, the context also is that last year it was 4:26 flat. And then this year
Wow.
it's 4:22.5.
That is a big change.
So they really, they ramped it right up.
And Cinta was also essentially in the same boat
Yeah.
going into the race. You two have
Mhm.
been training together, but also racing together and feeling similar vibes. Speaking to her, it was like, all right, let's just go. It was kind of like, at this point, nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose at this point.
Let's
Yeah.
go for it. We're at BU. We'll have good pacemaking, like reliable pacemaking. It'll be a
Mhm.
fast race. Let's go for it. Let's actually, show that we've been doing these amazing sessions. Let's go show it off in a
Mhm.
race. And that's essentially what you guys went out there and did, which is absolutely awesome to
Yay.
see.
I was also getting really tired of keep mentioning that the New Zealand mile record was going to be challenged by Maia, and then you kept running like exactly like 4:24 for like just off it, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to talk about it again." And
She's going off it
This
again.
time. This time.
Lame. Yeah, was that a big thing? Obviously,
Yeah,
it was.
it's been in my mind since last year when I missed it. I was quite close to it last year.
At Milrose?
That's what I've been
Yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah, and then, yeah.
Long story short, you crushed both those things. You
Yeah,
both
it's
ran
done.
4:21.
4:21 each.
Point
you and
5.
Cinta?
Yeah, we were separated by like 0.05. So
Yeah.
it's almost like we trained together.
No, it was sweet to see you guys come through second and third, and just knowing how the frustration from the last couple of
Mhm.
races, and but seeing like how much great work you guys have put in. It was really, really cool to see that kind of validation, and it just sets you up really well to go to China and race World Indoors in a couple of weeks. Not that far away, really.
3 weeks,
3.
less than that.
Yeah.
It's the 21st, but yeah, definitely got a lot of confidence from that.
Yeah.
What do
race.
what do you think was the main difference to the last 2?
I was just fed up, to be honest. I was like, at a certain point, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm training so well. I need to stop going to the back
Yeah.
Good
of the
attitude.
pack. Yeah,
Just sent it.
just sent it. But also, historically speaking, my first race is not my best. So I think just getting into the race rhythms again, it had been a while. So
Yeah.
For sure.
That's always a bit of a transition, not just as a pro, but also to Dathan's training. Like in college, there's always like early season meet that
yes.
really no one's watching.
That was important.
It doesn't matter how you really run. You can just ease into it. And either just as a pro, there's not really those, or there are,
We don't go to them.
but Rick doesn't do them. Like, yeah, a lot of people do go to like UW or like
They-
college meets,
I
or
mean, a lot of makes miss people still
even
do.
people racing the dome.
Yeah.
Whereas Ritz is like, all right, first race, Milrose.
Yeah.
Let's make it the best race.
First
Yeah. And I let
So-
that get to me for sure.
It's a bit of a transition to make in some ways. Maybe mindset wise, maybe also physically.
Mostly mindset.
But race number 3, it's all good
Race
now.
number 3, it's figuring itself out.
It
Yeah.
must have been a little bit tough to wrestle with those feelings of just wanting to go for it with the pace that ended up going out in the race, because it was so fast. I mean, you and Cinta did a great job at measuring your effort,
Yeah.
because the pacing was very quick, and you had, a few women that actually like just said fuck it and went with it,
Yeah.
and you guys were even gapped, which is crazy because you guys went out so quick still.
We went
Yeah.
out so quick. Yeah. we
Did you think that she was like, did you think you needed to be with Heather to run the standard?
No, but I
Or did
wanted
you-
to be with Heather.
Yeah.
I just wasn't.
It was just
No, I think the plan was to just stick with Heather and Suze and like anyone else who was up there on the lights. But then it was quick. It was so fast. And we had people telling us like, this is really fast. Not like no one's going to stand on the infield and say slow down, but you know, there's other ways of saying that.
They're going to imply it.
They're going to imply it. And also Cinta and I didn't plan to run together. Like that was not like, we didn't have a double meeting with Dathan to be like, let's help each other.
Yeah.
It just so happened that way. I think also we're just very comfortable running in front and behind one another because that's what training is every day. Yeah. So actually like, you know, obviously in hindsight, you're like, oh, should I have stuck on the pace lights for a bit longer? But then, yeah, there were a couple people going backwards in the last lap. And it's always more fun, I feel like, to be sort of chasing people down than it is to be hanging on for dear life. So I think the race achieved everything it needed to, like standard, record, and also just mentally a very good step.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And also, yeah, we should shout out Heather McLean.
Yeah. Oh, she was
4:17.
amazing.
She's been on fire this whole
Yes.
indoor season. Ended up breaking the 1500 meter record because she the
359
American
indoors.
359.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I looked up I found out who the person it was who had it previously.
Asterix.
Yeah. It was some name that I'd never seen before, but it was from a long time ago. Not
and
that
it was
long
like,
ago.
but it was like
2000
multiple months afterwards. Something.
Yeah, she
dodgy
tested
happened.
positive for drugs that same year.
Yeah.
But it was a name
How long ago?
I want to say like 2003.
Oh.
20 plus years ago. Wow.
Wait, so I don't know. I could be wrong.
I definitely was not paying attention to.
Elle's mile American record didn't have a 1500 split, or actually she just didn't get it and she just had an incredible last 109 meters.
Oh, it was at Milrose, so it must have had a 1500
Yeah,
split.
I'm imagining it's the second.
She must have had a amazing
Crazy.
last 100 to
I'm
get the mile, but
imagining that.
not the 1500.
Yeah.
Or
Which I guess may make sense because here you guys went out very fast, so maybe got the 1500, held on to the mile, so then didn't run 4:16 or whatever Elle ran.
also Heather ran 4:17:01, I think. So it's like
It's not that
it
far
wasn't
away.
that
True.
different from the other one.
We could call it
Wow.
4:16.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You get they can hold one each. Almost always, I feel like you just get both if
Yeah.
you are gonna get one.
Not for the college guys either, or they're sharing one. The
Oh
college,
yeah. Wait, they literally.
they ran the exact same time.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wait, who did?
The,
Gary and Ethan Strand
yeah,
tied the 1500 split,
Oh,
indoors.
really?
Like
But-
to the millisecond.
That's crazy.
but Strand had a just better last 109.
So we should
That's
all just
pretty
run the
crazy.
1500.
Crazy. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad. How would you feel if they changed all of indoors, like including like the world indoors, to a mile? Would you like that, or would you prefer them to change it every single indoor race to a 1500?
Pretty neutral, honestly. I think it's fine having both.
I do too. I think there's like so much history attached to the mile. I like that part.
I almost think the historical races like Milrose should always be a mile, but I'm happy for Worlds to be a 1500,
I
Fair.
like that.
honestly.
Fair enough.
And I think collegians should. I think NCAA is still cool that it's a mile.
Yeah, I'd be okay if it was all a mile. Like if Worlds was a mile as well.
Indoor 1500s are kind of hard. Like I never know where I am.
The start kind of sucks in an indoor 15
Yeah.
because you just start right on an indoor bend
Yeah, on the bank.
as opposed to the mile where you get to start on a nice flat bend.
Yeah. Fair. Well, shall we try to give Ollie just like a little call?
Let's give him a call.
See if we can get a little race recap.
I have no idea if this is going to work. He said, I just woke up and I'm getting coffee.
Great timing. That's actually impressive if he slept that long. That means he's sleeping till just mid-afternoon
He's
US
definitely
time.
just so jet lagged that he doesn't know what time of day it is.
Normally you wake up early when you go home that way.
Yeah, because at like 6 p.m. you hit a wall and you can't recover.
Yo,
Yo, what's up?
how's it going?
Hey, Ollie.
All of that?
Hello.
Hello.
It's currently pissing down here. but
Beautiful.
It looked
Oh,
good.
wow.
Oh, yeah, it
Yeah, it
is.
really
I don't know.
is.
I don't know how good the connection is, but we're just
Oh, there we go.
heading
Thanks.
in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Damn.
so green.
Looks tropical.
Oh,
Tropical rain.
It's very wet. It's very wet right now. I got to figure out when I'm going to long run. So
You have to long run today?
Bummer.
That's
long
tough.
run today, 16 miles, 16 smackles. So yeah.
Is
Sorry
this
if it's a bit
is this
loud.
day 1 or is this day 2?
This is day. I don't know what day it is.
Did you
Day
arrive
2, I think?
yesterday?
Day 2.
What day of the week is it right
Maybe.
now?
Meg, what day is it? Yeah,
Asking the tough questions.
Friday. It's Friday.
All right, he's on top of
Friday.
things.
How
He's
we
good.
doing?
He's ready to go. We're doing well here. We've just been recapping the old BU meet, and we talked about obviously your race a bit, but we wanted to hear it from from the horse's mouth. What is that saying?
That sounds right.
Sounds like something Ollie would say.
Do
I'm
tell
a
us.
horse.
I'm a horse. Do tell us. How did it feel to get after it? I'm not sure what your splits were. I assume they were extremely quick and be rewarded with a nice little indoor PB 350.
Yeah. No, it was pretty good. I mean, we were feeling pretty ready to go. Everyone was pretty hyped, and I reckon I ran a really good 1,209 meters.
Uh-oh.
So we're just relying on Mario, and then once I think when it got to about 3 laps to go, I started creeping up next to us, and then I was like, "Oh shit, we're slowing down," and the pace lights were on, so we were a little ahead pace, but it felt pretty good. The last 400, I just didn't have the. Let's got a bit detached and a bit lost a bit of focus, which was a bit annoying, but it was pretty good. I think it was a good positive.
This is not going great.
I was like, damn, this is it. We're going to run something pretty bonkers. But, yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I mean, I'd love to run a faster 400, but last 400, but hopefully that will come through in the next few months. But it was great to race with Yara again and Mario. Mario's pacing, so it was cool to have the 3 amigos back together in some form. And, yeah, that was pretty good. But other than that, the pacing duty that I had to do for Kai and Dylan, that was hard.
Yeah.
And Yara was like, I remember Yara was going like, oh, I can do a mile easy. That's like no problem. I could probably even do 2K or 3K. And then Yara dropped off exactly at a mile. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing this. It sucks. And then I did 2K of the pacing with the boys. But, yeah, it was a pretty, BU is always a fun place to go. I mean, the amount of people that go through there, the amount of heat that they run, all those people that work there, they all came up and said things to come. And I tell you what, it's good vibes there every time I go. So it's always nice to go to BU and obviously thank them for setting out meets like that because it's pretty fun to go there and just see how fast you can go sometimes. But yeah, it's a good time. It's pretty good here as well in Australia. We're at the beach house, family beach house right now, and it's pissing down. Christo's out about 16 miles in the rain. Meg is having coffee and some fun times with mom. So, but yeah, vibes are good. Training's going to go well, and BU was pretty good for me. I got a little PB, and only up from here, right, Morgs?
Hell yeah, bro.
Sounds very wholesome. How was Boston to Sydney travel?
Mate, that was the worst fucking thing I've ever done in my life. Like, it was 7
Sounds
hours
terrible.
from. The worst flight was Boston to San Fran. That was the worst
checks
flight.
out. That's so
I felt sick like the whole flight, and then after that, like, when I got into, I was fortunate enough to get up for plus points, and slept most of that flight, which was, yeah, it was brutal. It was really brutal. I mean, I'm still pretty jet lagged, and I think I got a pretty good sleep, but now my body feels pretty good. I did some decompression, and I'm going to do a lift today. There's some old weights or some old bricks outside I can just lift around,
Stones.
and I can chop wood or something. I don't know. Might chop some wood. I think Meg wants to watch me chop wood and embarrass myself, so I might do that.
Sounds
Chop
very
wood,
erotic.
carry water.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. The Mike Smith special. Chop wood, carry water. There's a lot of
When in
water
doubt.
around here at the moment.
When in doubt, chop it out. That's what Mike Smith always says.
So what we
There's
what
no
we
doubt.
all
No, Mike was telling me that. Oh,
what we all want to know, Ollie, is I don't know. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Or when will the mighty men at AA name the team for China?
Monday. I've been told Monday. Will I get the rose? Who knows? But I'm in the bachelor list. The Bachelorette, also known as AA, has one rose left for the 1500 meters. I know the other rose has gone to Cameron Myers of Myers. So I'm Ollie Hall from Hall.
Sometimes the Bachelorette picks. Sometimes they pick the person they like better second, though. Honestly.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they might pick somebody that needs a chance, that needs a new lease on life. Yeah. So, George, I should tell you, I have my rental car, my mystery car. I upgraded it because I was like, I need to do it for the bags. I'm driving an Audi Q7, a brand new Q7. It's unreal.
Mystery car
would
is a
love
good
this car.
choice.
That's not bad.
Sometimes
Audi Q7, it's sick. It's pretty unreal. I'm ripping around, but it's
living the dream down there.
You're right. His connection is fading right now.
and I'm like, I got in yesterday, bro. He's like, wait, where are you? I'm like, dude, it literally takes 36 hours to get back. Like, I only just got here. He's like, oh, you gotta go to do this. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Yep, all good.
All right, well, Ollie,
So that's not changed. He's still worrying about me, which is very nice.
thank you so much
Yep.
for joining us. It's been
Bye,
lovely to have
Ollie.
you on.
Say hi to everyone.
Say hi to the fam.
Say hi to Meg.
I will.
Give your mother a kiss from us.
We will. I'll give her a kiss from you, Morgs. And best of luck with all the training and stuff, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Have
Thanks,
a great
bro.
week.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. All the best. Long live.
Oops.
Long live Coffee Club.
Yeah, long live Coffee Club. I love that. New
That
motto.
was about what I expected from Ollie.
It's just a
God.
shame the connection is so.
Yeah, it kind of fit
Lackluster.
it kind of fit the vibe somehow
Yeah.
that he was going halfway across the world at the beach for a little bit,
Yeah.
prepping for hopefully world champs.
Yeah. Monday.
Must be nice.
He's definitely getting picked.
Yeah,
There's no way. Right. I don't know. I don't understand how the ranking system works exactly, but I assume
He's-
that he's done more than enough.
Yeah, he's very high in the ranking.
and Australia is very good at
They're nice.
picking people that are just qualified. Like I don't know if that's ever happened that Australia's just not picked someone that's in that has done
My
what's-
tenure. They had a
done what's
reputation
required.
back in the day. They weren't as nice.
Yeah, now they're pretty
Upon a
good.
time. Yeah. They're
It's
super
not like it's an easy trip for Australians.
good. Yeah.
What's like? Is it even a different time zone? 1 or
Yeah.
2 hours?
2 hours, I think.
Only 2?
Something like 2.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not much.
That's pretty
It's
nice.
still 10 hours, though, on the
It's
plane.
still 10 hours. It's not the easiest trip.
It's like, it's
True.
not
It's
that
not-
close.
Wait, I guess you did it.
It's not the easy. It's not the
Yeah.
nicest. It's not a very nice trip, but the time zones is nice. So you don't have to really leave. Oh, I guess you still kind of want to leave enough time before to get that long flight out of your legs and stuff. But it's easier than I guess the US.
He's planning on going
And then
1 day
Europe.
later than the US crew
Okay.
as long as he's selected.
Mm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh,
Makes sense.
great to hear from him.
Yeah. I hope. I don't know. I'm
Did
gonna.
he have a mustache in BU?
No,
Or was that just
I
a...
can't remember.
no, that's an Australian.
As soon as he
thing.
gets to Australia, he immediately looks 10 times more Australian every time.
I think it's the Chriso influence.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
Chriso. Brings it out in him. It's
I
good.
reckon. I don't think I would have noticed if Chris had answered the phone.
I think you guys need to get him on the podcast.
He's been on the
He's-
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, he beat you.
Ah.
He was on one of our second birthday.
They
podcast.
start like merging when they're together. They do start to like merge
Yeah.
into one
It's awesome.
Hearing
big
them call is so funny.
one big whore bag.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully that connection was good. When I was calling him, he kept breaking up. I was like, oh, I don't know. I might have to cut this, but hopefully that was good enough.
It's
I
good.
think it was. But so we just were talking about the women's mile at BU and Maia's recent achievements. And so why not? Shall we dive deeper into the whole Maia Ramsden story? Your arc.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm not gonna answer to Rambo.
How many
No?
people call you Rambo?
Like 4, and they just they're trying to make it a thing, and it's not working.
Doesn't Joe call you that? Or
He
no?
tries.
Yeah.
He tries. Robert's tried. Yeah, Farkin's trying to get on that train too. It's
Rambo.
not really working, is it?
It'll catch on eventually.
He
Maybe
tried.
probably the
briefly.
podcast. If we're gonna make it happen, probably us saying it on this podcast is the best avenue for us to take.
Or what's the wouldn't it be like isn't it a word that ends in O? Isn't that like the masculine version? What's the feminine version? Rambo.
Rambo. Dad was
Rambo.
Ramo at uni.
Ramo.
Yeah.
That's good
Ramo.
too, actually.
Yeah, that's Dad's.
Nice.
All
You
his
be
old
shorter.
friends.
Love
All
that.
that.
Yeah. No, you can be Rambo. That's fine.
Well, I recently learned that Rambo's like some like military violent like movie.
Oh, okay. No one thinks of Rambo.
I didn't even know that existed.
You've never heard of
No.
Rambo?
Great movies.
Yeah.
Totally fits my
Legendary.
vibe.
It really
Legendary.
does.
No. Okay, we'll have to watch them sometime so you can see your history. But shall we do the? Do you want to do your quiz, George?
I think we got to get. I think we need some origins first. So then the quiz will make. I think then the quiz will make more sense because
Okay.
otherwise people won't know. Where are you from, Maya?
It's a hard question.
How many
Exactly, that's why-
countries have you lived in?
Better question.
Yeah,
5.
5.
Holy
Mhm.
shit!
And that's for like decent amount. That's not just like you're there for like 1 week. That's like all these countries. You probably what's the minimum you spent? Probably
Ethiopia was 2.5 years.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bet you guys didn't expect she was going to say Ethiopia.
I don't even know if can I name
Let's go.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Ethiopia, giving that one.
Yeah.
USA,
Yeah.
Solomon Islands, Fiji.
Yeah.
Crushed
Ding,
it.
ding,
Crushed
ding.
it. Not sure about that. Probably wasn't the right order.
Definitely not the right order.
What? Give us
Do
the
you
order.
want the order? Okay. So I was born in New York, and then I was in Boston for like less than a year. And then
Oh,
Wellington.
that went full circle.
Yeah. Yep. Then I was in Wellington, and then I moved to Honiara, Solomon Islands, and then Suva, Fiji, and then Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and then to school back in Boston.
Back to Boston.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So wait, you didn't really. How much schooling did you do in New Zealand?
My first 2 or 3 years.
That's it.
Lyle Bay Primary School. Yeah.
Wow.
I met
Nice.
my physio at home. His wife was my primary school teacher.
Damn,
Small world.
that is so cool.
Yeah.
How do those conversations go from your mum and dad? Like, sit you and your brother down and just be like, all right, we're moving we're moving to the islands and then another island, and then we're going to move to Africa.
Okay, so the first one, I don't remember because I was like 3 when we left the US. And it was like moving back. Like my parents had been in Wellington, and then my dad got a job in New York. So we moved there, or they moved there and then had 2 kids and then moved back to Wellington. So I don't remember that one as much. But I do remember before we moved to Solomon's, they sat us down. There had just been a tsunami in Samoa, which is obviously it's not even that close, but that was like what was at the forefront of my mind of like, this is the big Pacific news item right now. And now my parents are telling me we are also moving to a small island. And the first couple of weeks that we lived there, I was really, really scared of tsunamis.
That's valid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're really scary.
They are.
Yeah, but they were just sort of like, would you guys be interested? And I don't really think we knew what we were getting ourselves into. But after that, we got some choice. Like sometimes Dad would have a few options, and he'd put them all to the family dinner table, and we'd chat about them.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Was it known that it would be? Did you guys often know that it'd be like 2 years in this place, or was it like was it undefined?
No, it's usually 3+1 for postings, and then
An option year.
an option year, if you will. And then typically also you'd come back to Wellington. The context is that, Dad's a diplomat for New Zealand.
New Zealand CIA.
No. But it just so happened that like this posting opened up, or like they needed someone in this next job. So that's why we did like these back-to-back ones. But everyone's home now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fascinating childhood.
A lot more
Was
diverse than mine.
Yeah. Do you think that like has changed your perception on the world?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
did.
those are, I mean, that's just crazy countries to live in like such like formative years of your childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel really grateful. Like I think I definitely had an amazing childhood. Like I loved it. I don't know if my siblings loved it in the same way. You know, we were different ages when we did the different moves, and there were definitely hard parts. Like you sort of just feel like you're getting settled in a place. You've just made friends, and it's like, well, we're picking up. It's time to go. But I went to international schools, so a lot of people were in a similar boat. Yeah, I feel really, really lucky to have got to have those experiences. Yeah, makes you think.
Definitely. I think probably a lot of people ask now, thinking of you as the great runner that you are, and being in Ethiopia. Did you run at all in Ethiopia or no?
Yeah, I did. Well, the funny part is that I have this, like, Dad brings this up all the time, but I remember watching the Rio Olympics when we lived in Fiji, and it was super publicized, not least because Fiji Sevens won the gold medal. We got the day off school. There's a parade.
hype?
It was amazing, actually. Like, everyone cried when they won. It was so cool. But I remember joking with Dad, being like, haha, is there a New Zealand embassy in Addis? Because we were watching all of these Ethiopian runners like have so much success.
You were already like a decent runner at this
I was
point?
already running. Yeah. I had been running seriously since I was like 13 or 14.
Humidity training in Fiji.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't running very many. Like, I wasn't doing a lot of volume. It was like, but I had an amazing coach there. He was really wise, and like had good foresight for what, like, not overdoing it. But yeah, I was like, oh, haha, what if we moved there? And then a couple of years later, Dad's like, yeah, so there's this posting that's opened up. What do you think?
So really, it was just a plan all along to turn you into
something like that.
a world-class runner.
No, but it's definitely, I mean, Morgs, you would have seen this when you went. Like, it's a really, really, it's very different to the US living in Addis. And
Not a good place for running.
well, not if you don't have the system set up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I would go up to Entoto, like the mountains where
Yeah.
all the pros train, but like I didn't have access to the main track in Addis. You have to be a citizen to use. So I didn't have access to that. And I had a few different coaches while I was there. One from outside, one from my school. Like, it was just sort of this turbulent time.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened. Oh, and I left for like almost 2 months to go home because I didn't want to repeat this extra part of school because the school years changed. And so it just, I feel like, have the benefit of living at altitude. But honestly, the main thing is, like, it was amazing to be in a place where everyone was a running fan. Like, Mo Farah came and there was some drama because his stuff might have been stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys remember this?
Yeah, from the hotel.
From
that
Yaya
was,
Village.
Yeah.
And I remember going to school the next day and, like, all my classmates were talking about it.
Big
And it's
news
like, where else in the world is
Yeah.
sort of running news
The top
that mainstream? Yeah. So I think that was really amazing. It just fostered a love for it, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So did you spend COVID in Addis mostly?
No, I spent COVID partly in Addis and then partly in the US. Dad had to stay to keep working at the embassy, and the government gave us a choice basically to go to Wellington or go to the US because my mom was going to be single parenting. And also my parents were like, I was already planning to go to Harvard at this point, and my parents were like, you're not going to be able to get a flight from Wellington to Boston in September. And I was like, there's no way. In March, I'm like, what are you talking about? But they were right. So
How do you go from high school and an international school in Addis to Harvard? Or is that
it was crazy. I mean, partly it was crazy because obviously I sound very American. And so people
we'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need to tell you guys this twice. But like people would assume that I would like know all of these references or like things that were going on. I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like other Americans at your high
yes.
school?
No, other Americans at Harvard.
Oh, once you got there?
Yeah, once I got there. They would be like saying these things and I wouldn't know what, like, I don't know, like random food place, like fast food places or like just normal things that people talk about. And then also obviously like, you know how it is in your first years at school. It's like everyone's asking, oh, where are you from? And then I panicked and sometimes I'd just be like.
Just lied.
Yeah. I think
I don't know. Antarctica.
Well, then it's like, if I say New Zealand, people are going to be like, well, why don't you sound like that? And then if I say New York, which I know no one there, and
then they'll ask you all
when
this
I was
stuff about
3.
New
Yeah,
York.
they're like, where in New York? And it's like, well, I was 3 when I.
They'll start referencing all these things like, oh shit, I actually don't know.
And then if you say Ethiopia, obviously people are like, well.
Now I need the full story.
Yeah. So I think my roommates, the girls who became my roommates, my closest friends at school, like credit to them, they've heard the spiel a lot of times. Egbe probably could like give my answer better than I could at this point. So.
Wait, what's your answer?
Well, just like the full story. Like, usually it's like, do you want the long story or the short story? And then.
Nice.
Yeah.
Would you guys at your classes at Harvard, would they ever do icebreakers? Would they be like, what's a fun fact?
Yeah, but I would never. I don't want to open that can of worms.
You wouldn't flex it. I feel like that's what I would do.
What would you flex normally?
I would sometimes say that all 4 of my grandparents are from different countries.
That's pretty cool.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What would you say?
I would go with I finished all 7 Harry Potter books in 11 days.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's psycho.
That's a fun fact.
Twice.
Yeah, I struggle with fun facts. I don't know.
You got too many to choose from.
Well, no, I like it is a fun fact, but it's also just like to me that's just my life, you know. So it feels funny to be like.
But to other people,
it's a fun fact.
I guess I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, to other people, it's a very fun fact because it's a very cool experience.
It was a very cool experience.
So were you going to Harvard to be good at running? Or were you
No.
going to Harvard
That's the question.
because it's Harvard?
I wanted to go to law school and I liked running. I didn't love running and I didn't get to compete that often. Like in high school.
True. What races are you doing in Addis?
None. Or like
No.
the international school circuit that was like not particularly competitive. And then I would go home.
You couldn't just go to like Ethiopian national
Nope.
Club champs.
Yeah.
Nope.
Club champs or something.
But like I started going when I was 2016. I was 14. So I guess when I was like 14, Dad was like, "Oh, are you serious about running?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And he's like, "Okay, you can like join a club in Wellington and like go to some competitions at home." And that was when we were living in Fiji, so obviously it's a lot closer. It's like a 3-hour flight and, you know, much more doable, logistically speaking. And for me at the time, and I think for most of like, honestly, until I went to school, it was like, oh, my parents are willing to support this, super grateful to them. I get to go home and compete for a club. I get to see my friends. I get to see my family. Like usually I'd stay with friends or my grandparents. And I get this trip and I have to run 1 to 2 to maybe 3 races max. Like life's pretty good, you know?
Yeah.
So I got to really, like, I don't know, every time I went home to race, I would also like go to the beach with my friends or get to see my aunt, like, and my grandparents and people I cared about. So that's kind of why I loved running initially. And then when I realized that I could keep doing it in college, I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty great. Apparently the Harvard team on my visit thought I was not going to make it 4 years in running.
They're like, there's no way she cares about running.
Yeah,
Is
they
it-
were
how did you even like? How much did you know about the NCAA like running system?
none,
from
nothing.
Addis?
I was the
Like,
first.
did you know
person
like
from
what
my
conference
school.
was? Like
Nope.
nothing. Just
I
like
knew nothing.
just like a running like a club. I'm
You're
just
like,
going to join a
gonna do it
running
for fun.
club.
I don't know how seriously they take it, but I'd like to meet like-minded individuals.
Yeah, that
But
was
you
kind
had
of my vibe.
chatted. But you had chatted to Gibby.
I chatted to Gibby. I'd figured out the difference between D1 and D3. I was like, okay, I'm pretty competitive. I think I should go D1. My mom's mom, my grandma lives in the Northeast. So I was like, okay, I want to be in a 6-hour radius of my grandma who I haven't really got to see all that much of from my childhood. And then I narrowed it down. And yeah, I thought I was going to go to Yale. I loved the coach there. She resigned during my recruiting process, and got along decently well with Gibby. It was like, okay, this guy's a lot of energy. I think we're going to get along. And yeah, I picked Harvard.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
Did Gibby's intensity appeal to you? On a visit, can you tell?
Oh, he's exactly the same.
Exactly the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't really change himself for anyone.
Okay, that's a very good characteristic.
good.
Of him.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely know what you're getting in for.
Yeah.
He also lived in Italy, as he reminded Cinta and I on a drive over this past summer, as a child, and he really hammered that point home to try and make us seem similar.
Yeah. I get it.
Trying to relate.
Yeah, exactly.
So, was it what you expected when you got?
Harvard?
Yeah. Or NCAA running, both.
Oh no. Well, I also came in the COVID year, so for my entire freshman year, it was just me. There were 2 guys in the fall and 2 senior women in the spring. And that's it. And no racing. I did 1 race that year in New Jersey, unattached.
It's kind of nice though for you.
It's kind of a nice, gentle, soft launch.
Yeah. I would say we weren't training very hard.
Have a good time.
It's probably running.
Get it out of the system.
I don't even know how much I was running. Not a lot. I was having a great time. I made really good friends. I think the friends, I'm very grateful for that year now, because if I'd had the sort of investment I had in running as a senior, as a freshman, I would have no friends. Most of my closest friends I made freshman year or the beginning of sophomore year. And then it's like, oh, this
when
is
you were just
starting
partying.
yeah, a little bit, but it's you do have more time. I definitely,
You do meet more people.
You do meet more people. But it was COVID, so we were outside, but it's oh, let's meet on this spot on the river at midnight. So, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
And somewhere between that year and when did you win? The
Junior.
first time I saw your name was literally when you won NCAAs in Austin, and they were like, "Yeah, this Harvard girl's from New Zealand."
Well, yeah, at the time it was a big upset because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know who you were.
That's fine.
got into
I don't
that
take it
race.
personally.
There was a lot of chatter about a certain Caitlin Tui.
There was,
There
yeah.
was.
She was trying to pull
Yeah.
off an audacious double, I
She
think it was.
was, yeah.
And I think,
Spoiled the party.
yeah, the year before that, Cinta had won.
Cinta had one, yep.
And so then the next year it was who's going to win? And Caitlin Tui had run so fast. She had so much hype around her. And then I think but she did look a little bit weak in the, she had some weaknesses in the heats, I remember. But I think most people were okay, Caitlin Tui's going to win. And then out of nowhere, Maia Ramsden comes through. And yeah, people did say it was an upset, kind of. But did it feel like that to you? Were you shocked? Were you surprised? Or was it actually more of a natural progression between you and Gibby across those couple of years to get to that point?
I think the actual performance was definitely just a natural progression, but I think everything that came from that moment was
the
definitely
rewards,
an upset. That was for sure. If you're what are your life-changing moments? That was one. I did not think I was going to keep running after college until then.
NCAA champ in the 1500. That's legit. I mean, that changes a lot of things.
It changes a lot, and in that was right when the NIL era was starting as well. So that was a huge change.
Got a little attention from a little brand called On.
Started building relationships. I think, the year before I had just missed indoors. So that was my sophomore year, I guess. We tried and tried. I think I ran 8 or 9 miles that indoor season. It was insane. Just trying to get this standard. I ran 4:36. I was 20 something in the rankings.
Yeah.
So it was close to making the meet, but didn't. And then I was sort of
So your sophomore year when you came out, which is kind of your first year in some ways, you're already probably the best runner on your team, or one of them.
I had to, I guess I got to train with my teammate Abby as a freshman she ran 4:10 that year. So I just sort of attached myself to her every workout and just hoped for the best. A lot of blowing up that year in workouts. And then the next year I had 2 super seniors who were pretty good, and both of them had made the meet in years past before COVID. So I had a lot of training partners that year. but yeah, then I went to NCAAs outdoors. I met Cinta. I was so nervous.
There's the famous pictures.
Yeah, there are
Yeah,
famous where I'm
that
like
one.
somewhere off in the distance.
Yeah, for context, Cinta has these pictures of
Cinta loves these
in the
pictures.
heats. It's in. I think was it regionals or was it the heats of NCAAs?
It was both.
It was
There was
both?
2
There's
separate
both?
uniforms, 2 pictures.
where like the race is happening in lane 1 and 2, and then Maia, it just from the pictures, like she's out in lane 5 and just she's doing well. She's doing well in this race.
Making up ground for sure.
But she just like looks like she's running a completely different race.
I mean,
Amazing.
yeah, I was like mentally so. Basically, I was like obviously super into school. I love school. I loved school, and then school ended, and all I had to think about was running, and I completely spiraled. I thought I had a gallbladder issue. Like I had to go get an ultrasound. Imagine I'm like this almost 20-year-old woman walking in to get an ultrasound. I'm like, oh no, everyone's
Yeah.
also thinking other things right now. And then the doctor was like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with you. It's anxiety. So
Sweet.
there was that. I made the final. I came 10th, I think. I ran a PB. I was like, amazing. This is all I can ask for. But then the next year, like, I don't know, Gibby and I had a sort of hard conversation that summer where he was like, look, like, there's a lot of potential here, but if you want to do this, you really have to figure out this mental piece because this is no fun for anyone. Like himself included.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fun to have me like crying in the tent without stepping on the start line. So yeah, I did a lot of sort of thinking that summer about whether I wanted to do anything, like what I wanted from the sport, I guess. And then the next year was just a great time, really. That was like, I think that junior year was honestly like the happiest running, least stressful,
Most balanced.
most balanced.
What did you come in indoors in junior year?
I came 5th in the mile, which I was disappointed with, which in hindsight is silly.
Maybe that disappointment was fuel for.
It definitely was. Well, then I ran the 3K, like a couple hours later.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came 8th in the 3K because I was like, I'm getting that trophy.
Wow, that's very impressive. It's
That is
really hard
good.
to do that double.
It was hard. Yeah, it was in Albuquerque.
Oh my God.
But I also think, like, I don't know, I look back on that now, I'm like, oh yeah, I was really strong, but I don't know if I was sharp enough. And Gibby and I talked about that too from like a training perspective. But then yeah, definitely fuel. So I don't know, like I thought it was a natural progression. I had a lot of people in my corner telling me how fit I was and how possible it was to win that race.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess even if not on the surface, something in me believed that I could. And yeah,
Yeah.
it worked out.
Well, it worked out, and even more so, you continued progressing very nicely after getting the big win in your junior year. Your senior year was one for the books, where you swept it all indoors, outdoors. You represented New Zealand for the first time. You made the Olympics. You set national records. It was really just ticking all the boxes. You must have been having a freaking amazing time.
Yeah, I was. I was like, I don't really remember a lot of that year. Like I was, cross country was amazing. My team made the meet, which was huge because we weren't sure if that was going to happen. And yeah, I had a great time. But then sort of, I feel like January 1st, I was like, I have really big goals this year and I am going to do everything in my power to make them happen. And that, like, I was just sort of like in a cave, in my Maia cave.
Yeah, I mean, from the outside, it was crazy. I mean, you were representing On, you had your NIL, and just so we were paying a lot of attention. The team was recruiting you at this time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just crazy to see because it's really hard to do things like run NCAA indoors and then also run World Indoors.
Dominated indoors, and then and then World Champs was like a week later, wasn't it? 2 weeks?
World Champs was first, and then
It's crazy.
next
Wait.
weekend was NCAAs.
Yeah,
it was conference World Champs.
Yeah.
In NCAAs.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
who
right.
does that type of stuff?
That was wild.
It's unreal. During the outdoor season, you're taking trips to LA,
Yeah. That was
Running.
a fun one. That was a fun one.
Yeah.
crazy times. You were
Chasing the Olympics.
chasing the Olympics and doing all the team. Like your team was doing great, right? Like you qualified did you qualify in the DMR?
We didn't. We were 13th
Oh, no.
indoors
Did you
by
win?
0.01.
Did you win Penn Relays?
We did win Penn
Okay.
Relays. Yeah, that was our revenge.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah, that was like the best moment of college. The
Really?
Penn Relays, yeah.
It's funny because I have like at Wisconsin we had a similar, like my senior year we went to Penn Relays and we won, and it was like it's hard to compare because
Oh.
in track it's like cross country feeling, you know.
Yeah.
You got George. You got to do it like every single year in cross, but in track you don't.
Would've loved to do
you
it on the
don't
track.
get that except for the special meets like pen relays.
Yeah, that was really like by far and away the best college moment.
What was your confidence like through this year? Was it as pristine as it seems from the outside, or were there, those ups and downs?
Like my senior year.
That year when you were just dominating.
There were ups and downs for sure. I think I got I had a really good mental routine for college meets. What tripped me up, I think, was like kind of flip-flopping between pro meets and college meets, and they are so different. And I felt very confident in the college circuit, but then like I went to LA and I was so scared. There is a moment where I found out that the rabbit was meant to go through. It didn't work out this way, but was supposedly meant to go through in like 203 or 204. And everyone was there, like my soon-to-be agents hadn't made any decisions there yet, but the people who would become my agents, Dathan and Kelsey, Gibby, like this crew of people all standing there, and I quite literally run to them and I am like, guys, I can't do this. So I had moments like that. But I would say in the NCAA, I just sort of, I don't know. I had a really good headspace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you crashed at NCAAs, you won, and then it was, I don't know, when did you commit to joining the team?
Oh, I mean, I don't know officially. In Glasgow, I told Josette, I was like, I'm coming.
You unofficially committed. Yeah.
Glasgow was basically a recruiting trip.
That was my recruiting trip.
Yeah.
The boys put in good work to get me on board.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you
Me
had
and Mario and Josette.
Yeah.
dream team.
I guess and Yard. We were all there.
I barely saw Yard.
That's because we would go. That's because all the rest of us would go get coffee.
Yeah.
And Yard obviously wasn't coming to get coffee with us.
He was
That was
busy.
my decision, though. That moment was probably like, and then I had to obviously sort out some other things. Like I still was like, I'm going to keep an open mind because there were teams that like had a different recruiting timeline, I guess. And I wasn't like, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and say I'm 100% committed to this until I've seen, it's a big decision for hopefully a good chunk of my life. Like I want to make sure I've done my due diligence.
Did any of the other teams actually challenge your thoughts on that? Did they put up a fight?
I think so. Like I took a visit at New Balance because it's right there, and I've been watching those women compete my whole college career, and like I really like what they're about. I don't think I wanted to stay in Boston, but I talked to a few other teams, and honestly, like also you're getting wined and dined, so you're seeing the best that each of these teams have to offer, and you're like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And I stand by that. I do think like the fact that there are these pro running teams that like we have these funny friendship / colleague / teammate bubbles is really cool. I mean, obviously I'm loyal to us now, but there are other spaces where I think it's happening. Yeah.
Definitely. Makes sense. And then, so you officially announced the team. Did you have to wait till after NCAAs then?
Yeah.
For it to be official?
Yeah. And they asked me in the post-race interviews, I was like, just wait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And then you went on to continue to race. So, like, you'd already raced a lot at this point
I was
by the
so
time you
tired,
get to the start line at NCAA Outdoors. And then you continued to race so much because you were chasing a qualifier for the Olympics / boosting the rankings. I remember watching you race in Vancouver, just going
I don't
everywhere.
want to talk about that race.
Just dominating. Yeah, sorry. And then you ended up eventually in St. Moritz with us, which was nice. I think at that point, well, I remember now that your ranking was very secure, but New Zealand had a policy, is it correct, that you had to be top 32 or something like that to get picked?
I think for me it was it was different if it was your first team or like if you were under 23.
I thought it was top
22.
40 if it was your first team.
Okay.
And the
38.
field size was 50 something.
The field was 45 and
40 something.
ours was like
yeah.
it was like 38.
She couldn't be like the last 6 or 7 people or something.
No. And you need to prove that you were going to be competitive. but I feel like I'd done that because I missed the standard by
Yeah.
0.08.
Yeah,
So-
you're consistent. Like you're
Yeah.
so close, and you've been dominating all year. Did you have a moment where you're like, okay, yeah, I probably qualified for the Olympics, or did that not come until you got that phone call?
It did not come till I got that phone call. I remember
Did you get a phone call or an email?
I got a phone call.
Really?
Kat like called me, and I was like, I don't know. I was doing something, or Kai was in the other room because Kai and I were like living together for this 1 week that we were in Boulder, and I was like, oh, can I just call you back? And she was like, no, like I'm in a meeting. And I thought she meant she was in a meeting, so she couldn't call me. I was like, okay, no worries. She FaceTimes again. I'm like, okay, I got to pick up. And yeah, then I started crying, and then I called like my coach and my family, and yeah,
Amazing.
it was really a
Amazing. Well,
crazy
instantly,
moment.
I mean, we've kind of talked about this before, but as soon as you youngins, you freshmen joined us in St. Mates, we knew something special was a brewing. It was good vibes all around, and you guys were just crushing it in training. But what was cool for you is that Gibby was continuing to coach you all through this time period. And that was when we got to get some nice face-to-face time with the infamous Gibby. We've talked about him a few times on the podcast.
He's talked about at least some of you guys on his podcast, I think.
Wait, he has a
too.
podcast?
No, he just did one with them.
Okay, I was going to say. I was like, what?
He's branching out.
How does he have time for that?
But
Yeah.
he is a special individual. He's got opinions.
A lot of opinions.
I love anyone who does things differently and feels very. I like coaches that feel very strongly about the way they do stuff, especially if it's like slightly different to the norm. It's just so interesting to
He feels
hear.
strongly, for sure.
And he's got all this stuff about the mitochondria. I don't know if that's a him thing or that's something that we made up. You have never heard that before?
No.
I think it's a him thing.
You think he said that? Well,
I
there
don't know.
was something that like running 6 minute, like for the men, making
Yeah.
them run 6 minute was to do with your mitochondria.
That does
Yeah.
that does not sound right.
I think we asked
What
Graham
did
Blanks.
Blanks tell us?
I think we asked Graham Blanks about it.
Oh, Graham was 100% having you guys on that. There's no way that's real.
I think there's
Someone
something
said mitochondria to us.
there. We've heard that. There's a connection there.
Gibby and mitochondria.
There's something to it. But anyway, yeah, he was awesome to have around, and just I think it was probably cool for you to finish the handoff at the Olympics. Was emotional. I know I got to witness it from like I was standing like 2 meters away when there was an official handoff.
They
between-
did like a weird handshake.
yeah, got a picture and stuff.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
like bawling my eyes out. But yeah,
it was epic. I guess we shouldn't skip over that. The Olympics.
the Olympics.
How was that experience?
It was like, it's kind of like hard to put into words. I feel like, I don't know if you two feel that way. It's just, it was a alternate reality for 10 days.
Very much so.
The actual running, like in the very moment, I was really close to making the final, and I was really disappointed that I didn't. But in hindsight, I'm like, I was so fried. I was so tired. I was in a hole after that for a couple of weeks, like maybe a month, just emotionally, mentally. So in hindsight, I'm very satisfied with the effort and the performances. And then like village life was great. It's like we'd get up, we'd go get coffee,
Go meet up with the teammates and
go meet up with the
dining hall.
teammates. Yeah.
hang out with the New Zealand. I think do you guys have your induction ceremony together or separately?
Together.
Together. Okay.
Mhm.
I got to witness that.
You did.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, I was on a run, and we might have talked about this already on the podcast, but it was funny because it would always gather a crowd whenever
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
New Zealand would do their welcome haka.
Mhm.
It's probably better. Is there a different name for it? I don't know. The welcome haka. It was like just on the other side of a fence. It was like fenced off New Zealand area, but there would always be a massive crowd. So I was just running past, and I knew it was the New Zealand area. I saw the crowd, and I could just, I snapped a little picture actually.
Yeah, I think I think Mario took a video of. Oh
That
no,
was
maybe
someone else's.
no. That
though.
was
It was
us. We were doing
the
it
haka,
for
yeah.
someone for the next group. I think
Yeah.
I was supposed to be separately to you, but then my flights and trains and everything got cancelled. I was spending an extra night in Zurich, and then we like arrived at the same time. So
It
that's
was-
how we ended up together.
That was an amazing thing though. Like that. I don't know. I'm
That's
like,
really special.
Our team was the best.
New Zealand?
Yeah.
Okay. Easy. You probably didn't even make it down to the Australia team. We were so far away.
You guys didn't let us in.
Yeah, that's true. But you guys probably wouldn't have let us in either.
Everyone was welcome to watch.
We definitely could have.
Everyone came and watched.
Yeah.
Your building might have been just slightly a higher spec.
I don't know. I had a pretty sweet balcony. My room had a really nice balcony, like a big patio type thing.
I did not.
That is
Yeah.
nice.
You guys didn't have as nice as sweet. Ours was quite nice.
Oh, yeah.
It was great though. That part was like, just funny little dream world.
Dream achieved.
Yeah.
Was that something that you like? Was Olympics like a lifelong dream, or was it later for you?
Well, I didn't think so, but then I was recently actually looking at my like Instagram archive from 2016, and I realized I had not one but 3 posts about the Rio Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah, and one of the captions was like,
Was it you wanting to be a sevens player?
no,
Oh.
but it was like, good luck everyone in Rio. Like, hope to see you there one day. And I'm
That's
like,
cool.
I didn't remember that about myself.
Manifested it
but-
8 years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's special.
Yeah,
That
I
is
lost
good.
it somewhere along the way, and then
You
came back to it.
They found you.
Rekindled.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
So
2
yeah.
New Zealand teams in 1 year.
Yeah.
What did you think of starting your first New Zealand team as indoors? Like a smaller track only team as opposed to a very big Olympic team. Because I did the same. I thought it was nice
It was
because it's like a
completely
very
different.
intimate group
Yeah.
to get to know. Because like you don't know that many people, and so I always thought indoors is a nice place to start because it's like a nice small group.
Yeah.
It's less overwhelming.
It was, and then I felt like, I think everyone who was at indoors was in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then like you know them when you get
Yeah.
there.
and also just the meet dynamics as well, like actually like being in the call room and having to go like so early, and the big crowd, although it wasn't really that part was a little just overwhelming, even more so in Paris, but yeah, it was quite nice.
Yeah.
And it means indoors is like, now I'm like, oh, I'm excited hopefully indoors again this year, and it's like it's a fun thing now because I'll always have that fun little memory.
Mm-hmm. We gotta all go we gotta all try and make a cross team together at some point.
We are.
We're doing it.
We're doing World Cross. Yeah, 4x2K.
There is we've chatted
Although
is
I
it?
heard.
Oh yeah, the
Okay.
Tallahassee
Oh yeah.
cross country year
Yeah.
that we're gonna get a
That's
team
next
together.
year, isn't it?
Well, then Sam comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, we should do this cross country relay." I'm like, "Yeah." I've been saying that. He's like, "Yeah, George just told me it's such a good idea." I'm like,
I
that
remember
was
hearing
my
this. I
idea.
remember hearing this. Yeah.
Just let's set the record
That was
straight.
in the village, yeah.
My
I
idea.
will. Yeah, that, I don't take any credit for that.
But that's even more so. Like you talking about what indoors being like smaller. Like, can you imagine being on a national team but it's only distance runners? It's real. It's even more like, wow, this is real chill. Like a very different vibe.
Very different
Very
vibe.
different vibe
Yeah.
compared to like being on a track team. So that should be our goal. Make it all there together. Be a lot of fun.
Is
That'll
that
be
next
so
year?
fun. Yeah, January.
Yeah, really?
Yep.
Shit.
All right, start training now.
Tallahassee.
All right, I'm in.
We were just
Make it
talking about
happen.
it at the gym today.
Nice.
How fortuitous.
Well, did we cover everything?
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything that we missed? Any key pieces of what makes Maia Ramsden Maia Ramsden?
I don't know.
Well, if there is, you can always come back on.
Okay, if you'll have it.
Yeah. Did you enjoy doing the podcast finally?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Are you just saying
You're
that?
not out of the woods yet. You still have to pass your citizenship test.
Oh,
which is
it
now-
time?
Now that everyone understands the context of why Maya needs to pass a citizenship
To prove
test,
that she's
to
a Kiwi.
prove that you're actually a New Zealander, born in New York, you have a U.S. passport, right?
Yeah, I have both.
Dual season.
U.S. passport right there. But running for New Zealand, I'm very happy you run for New Zealand. But where
What
does
do I have to do?
the international? Well, I'll tell you in a second.
God.
The international schools are all the teachers American?
It
Why do you have an
depends.
American accent?
I don't
Let's-
know.
let's-
Because I learned to talk in America, maybe. And then it just stuck.
Yeah, maybe. Is that how
old,
early it happens?
how old are you when you learn to talk?
Dude, like
Depends.
1, 2, early.
Okay, so yeah, I was in New York at
2.
1 to 2.
But you probably were at most of the schools that you went to. Were your classmates mostly American, or was it very
No.
mixed?
At none of them. Probably most. In
Was it more
Fiji and
British
Solomons, there were
or
like
Australian? Probably around a lot
In
of
Fiji,
Australia.
there were a lot of Australians.
Yeah.
In Solomons, there were not that many international kids in general. And then in Ethiopia, it was a real mix because there's so many embassies there.
Mm-hmm.
But there were the most, like, that was the one that was like an American school. But the other two were more like Australian aligned.
Did your voice/accent sound different when you arrived at Harvard to now, do you think?
I've seen videos from myself in high school. I sound exactly the same.
Okay.
So but my sister has never lived in the U.S. She has been back in Wellington since she was 11 or 12, and she still has a very ambiguous accent.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right, are you ready?
No.
Some of them I made up. Some of them I found on the
Are
internet.
you kidding? Wait, are these actually like on it?
No.
I was like, that'd be.
Well, maybe a couple of them, but mostly they're made up. And I also asked Sam for some help.
Are you kidding? Sam's in on this?
Well, Sam's honestly were harder. They were like real ones.
Oh, no.
So,
I'm sweating.
He feels strongly about.
but we're gonna start easy. All right. What does Aotearoa translate to?
Land of the long white cloud.
All right, correct.
You said that a little too quietly.
That was a little-
More confidence, please.
I would have also accepted Land of the Long Flat White, but that's okay. All right. How many sheep are there in New Zealand?
I have no idea.
26
Five.
million.
5.
Oh, it's a multiple choice?
Sorry.
Oh.
I already told you the answer though.
That was
Okay, if pretend you hadn't heard it, I was gonna
Okay.
say 5, 25, or 50 million. Do you think you would have got that right?
I think I would have gone 50.
I
think
probably
it-
would have gone 50 as well.
I think it actually used to be way more. We actually have less sheep now.
Where are
Why?
they going?
We're eating them.
George is farming them.
We're making lamb.
Not sure.
Always.
More other things. Yeah, but there's still 25 million sheep, 5 million people. So it's still 5 to 1. But it used to be like 20 to
Good
1.
numbers.
In like
20 to
the-
1, that's
In like the
outrageous.
80s, in like the
ratio.
80s or 90s,
That's outrageous.
maybe the population was like 3 million.
You know what I
20,
learned though?
maybe there were like 6. Is that right?
I was trying to reclaim this stat of like we have more sheep than people, but we're not the only ones.
I
No,
think
we're
Australia
definitely
does
not.
as well.
I'm
It's
sure.
so-
I think
I'm sure
Australia
if-
has like a lot of sheep.
So why do
Definitely.
we get this like?
I don't know. I'm sure like
It's a
Ireland,
small
Scotland,
country.
they
Yes,
must all
they
have
do.
more sheep than
Yep.
people. Some obsession with it. All right. If I said I'll just have gumboot, thanks, what would I be referring to?
tea?
Nice.
What is that from?
It's just like
Dunno.
tea with no milk and sugar.
It's just like black tea.
Nice.
No, it can have milk.
You
That was good. That was good.
You doubt me.
Describe a manu.
It's like a cannonball, but not. It's like rotated. Like it's hard to describe. Your butt goes in first in the water, and then it's sort of like, honestly, it's like this lift Jason has us do. But it is. Olivia and I do this lift, but you have to jump in the air and then land like that in the water. I'm not doing a very good job, but
I tried to get
I
Maia
can't
to
do
do
one.
one.
I can't do one.
At our pool in Scottsdale, but she refused.
Really?
I'm
But
gonna
at
like,
least she knows what it
I'm
is.
gonna land
It's
on
a
my
big-
back and then it's gonna burn.
It's a big thing in like there's like
Yeah, there's like
Yeah,
manu.
there's, like,
Manu
champs.
champs.
I've seen a video about
Yeah,
this.
Sam
yeah.
is really
Some of-
good.
some
Did
of them
Sam
are-
submit this question?
Some of them are amazing. He
Yeah.
actually didn't. I'm surprised he didn't. People they do like a double backflip like into a manu.
It's quite insane.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Okay, drink bottle or water bottle?
I don't know. Probably water bottle. Yeah.
Just the American way, but that's okay.
But what do you say now?
I actually don't know. I think I
I
said both.
think you say water
Yeah, I don't know what I
bottle.
say either.
Car
Drink
park
bottle.
or parking lot?
Car park.
Nice. Good answer. What's your favorite tip top flavor?
Orange choc chip.
God, I mean, respect. You have one, and that was dead on.
Yeah.
But that sounds
it's
orange
so
chocolate
good.
chip
And you can't get it anywhere else.
What is
Get-
this? Like an ice cream or a
yeah,
chocolate?
ice cream.
ice cream. Like tip top is like
Yeah,
a
a little bit.
like
I like
big
goody goody
tubs.
gumdrops too.
That's so both of those very
What?
on brand.
Okay.
Yeah, from the outside you're crushing this.
I don't know what he thought that I was gonna.
I just it's more for everyone else to just
Okay.
be convinced.
Let's set the record straight.
Okay, this one. Who is the current captain of the All Blacks?
Oh, I have no idea.
That one was.
Who is it?
I think that was online. I'm not even sure if I know. I want to say Scott Barrett, the oldest one of the Barrett
I
brothers.
know.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But that one, I don't even know right now. I guess they're not even playing.
No, the mini season thing is over.
These are references. How far from the beach did togs become undies?
It's a reference. I'm not going to get it at all.
No, would you just... How far do you think?
I don't know.
All right, you mustn't have been in New Zealand for that.
No, I don't think
How
I
about...
was. Also, I'm going to...
If you can't see the answer is if you can't see the water.
Oh. No, I was not
That
there
makes
for that.
sense, actually.
I'm also going to caveat this one thing. I don't know references in any country.
Not a reference person.
I'm just, yeah. Okay, keep going.
And
This is going to be my downfall. I can feel it.
this one is for you because I know you follow Waitangi stuff. What was thrown at Stephen Joyce at the Waitangi Treaty Grounds?
I don't know. I
In
did see
protest
this. No,
a
I
few
saw
years
this
ago.
headline.
It was kind of a few years ago.
Yeah. No, I don't remember.
A dildo.
I do remember. Yeah.
Okay, final test. You have to give the camera your best mono wave.
I can't do it. They made me do it at the Olympics too.
You give your best go.
What is it?
It's like
A mono wave. It's
I
like the
can't-
most New Zealand thing ever.
Is
you
it
like wave and then you like just kind of. I don't know how to do it without doing it.
Just do it.
You gotta do it too then.
Okay, fine.
3.
All right.
I'm nervous.
I also don't know how to do
I
it.
have no
Sam
idea
has
what
a good
this
one.
is.
Yeah,
I just
Sam
looked
of
at
course has a good one. But you gotta do a little like. There's like a little.
I was thinking it's like what
Yeah.
they end the haka with.
Nah,
I mean, no.
I thought I'd like to see whatever that is. I'd like to see you do that.
a pukana.
Is that what? it
Yeah, I can't do that.
No. Okay.
No.
I don't know if Maya could do one of
I
those.
know.
Next time we'll just have to open the podcast with a haka when you're here. You and
I know.
George
I
can-
could have got you to give us a haka, so I really let you off lightly.
next time.
We look.
But you
I
did very well.
I practiced the Olympic one. So did you.
Oh yeah, we did. We trained. We actually that
We
was what we
trained
did
together.
in Samaritz. We trained.
We actually did practice.
We practiced the haka together.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
you
That's
did
good.
see it,
Not good enough. I'd like to see it again.
but it's not the same without its context.
Okay, we'll make a new haka for the podcast.
I don't think I have the
Authority?
no.
Really?
No.
As a representative? I don't know how that works.
All right, Maya, you're a
I
proper New
passed.
Zealander. I'm impressed.
I made it.
I think she crushed it.
I think she did good.
I was like, because I kind of thought that I would understand some of them just being from Australia. I knew nothing. I knew nothing about what you guys were talking about. That was very good.
Good
Well
work.
done.
Okay, I'm gonna point to this as evidence next time it comes up, just so we're clear.
You have to
Yeah.
do it again for Ollie to prove it to him. Unfortunately.
Even if I did prove it to Ollie, he wouldn't stop giving me shit. So
Nor will George or myself probably.
Yeah.
also true.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think that was a lovely way to end the show.
I
Maya,
think so too.
thank you so much for joining us. I hope
Thank
that you had a
both for
lovely
having
time.
me.
And I think that's it from us for episode 176. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you all again next week.
Boys from
Bye-bye.
Coffee Club.